Spy Psychology, Team Fortress 2, Paranoia by Jonto. His audio is a lot louder in this one.
You disgust me, fat man. That is a diet I call death.
I actually really like his intro. So the audio feels a lot louder in this one. Audio feels a lot better in this one. Definitely feels like it's been boosted and treated, which I'm really a fan of. I also like the comp. I thought it was a really good way to segue into this. His editing skill just line you up. It's just getting better.
Paranoia. It's something Spy is very good at causing, even if you aren't dying to him. As soon as
There's a little bit of an echo, and it feels like his mic is being capped at a certain point. I don't know how to describe it.
you realize there's a spy out there, he lives rent-free in your head.
Yeah.
Spy is the best class for mind games, and it's something you need to do or at least consider when playing the class. He has multiple abilities that mess with other players' senses, and he can often make the enemy question what is real and what isn't.
Right. How dare you? Awful. Like, the audio is great. The mic work could be treated a little better. It feels like he caps at a really low level. It definitely feels like he's working in a space that isn't audio treated. Not that I am, right? I've been told by people who know what audio, like they can hear the fan in the background, right? They know I'm not in an audio treated space. Like, but that's just working like with audio, right? Like there's a lot that goes into it where most people don't notice.
You are not playing against training bots here, and we're going to assume it's not the other type either. These are real players, and real players learn and adapt.
Sure.
And when coming up against you, a player that can insta-kill them from behind, they're going to react and adjust based on their experiences with you. Let's take this example. This new player gets backstabbed by a spy every time he passes through here. It'll work the first few times, but by the third and fourth time, basic human brain functions have kicked in, and they're going to do the single best thing you can do to prevent a backstab.
Turning around.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Of course, each player is different. And
so that's actually where you get into training your opponent, because sure, if it works 2 to 3 times and then you notice that they turn around, just hang back. Just let them gain that false sense of security and then do the exact same thing again.
Will react to spies differently and at different times. New players are going to be typically less aware of spy tells.
Right.
Plus, they're preoccupied with simply learning how to play, so a good chunk of their attention has been allocated to that.
Mm-hmm.
Compare that to an experienced player. They aren't preoccupied with learning the game, and when heading to the front lines, their brain is deprived of dopamine. Therefore, they're looking for something to do. And that something is going to be watching for spies. For many players, it's best to wait until they're preoccupied with something else so you can have an opening to backstab them.
Actually, I haven't seen that, the heavy weapon in use. Yeah, it's the one that, like, sends heat around it. I don't remember what it's called. I've never seen anyone use it.
Though, sometimes even experienced players may also just run to the front lines absent-mindedly.
Yeah.
But a knife in their back will quickly wake them up.
Right.
Or put them to sleep, depending on your perspective. Point is, it's good to build up small psychological profiles of other players based on how they look and act, allowing you to anticipate their actions and reactions. Be prepared for their strategies to adjust as they become more aware of you.
Doom come.
Amazing.
As mentioned before, the more you kill, the more people become aware of you, and therefore, the harder it becomes to get kills. It's not necessarily just for the people you do kill, but people become more aware of a spy's presence as he causes problems for their team.
This is the inherent flaw in like, well, you're a spy, you should be going like 30-0, right? Like, think about it that way. If you're let's just say you're in a 12v12, right? Like, that means you're almost killing 2.5 lobbies, right? Like 2.5 times the team. They're going to know you're a spy at some point, right? I think that inherently, while it can showcase, it's a good showcase of like reflexes and game knowledge. I think it's a poor way to team fight because you're not, I don't know, like you're terrorizing the enemy team, right? And reasonably, if you are going like 30-0, right? Reasonably, your team should be capitalizing and pushing forward. But the team is now going to be more trained on trying to deal with you as a spy because you're going 30-0, right? At a certain point, they're going to, smack themselves awake and they're going to deal with you. And I think at that point, it also makes it harder because when you do need to pick a team fight, if you're 30-0, suddenly getting to that medic might be a little harder. Suddenly that medic might be right around a heavy or might be around a pyro, right? Like, I feel like being able to swap between aggro and support and not, get too big for your britches, so to speak, is going to be on the spy's radar, right?
Experienced players are aware that if they don't deal with a spy, it can often become a problem later. Many are aware of the tells of a nearby spy, which includes
nearby backstabs, cloak sounds, seeing the spy cloak, clones, players acting strangely, disappearing health and ammo packs, shutter doors that open when they shouldn't, obvious dead ring of fans, bicycle statues, footsteps when nobody is nearby, or just straight up seeing the spy by any means.
even if these tells
I mean, yeah, actually, because I saw a bicycle statue in one of our community nights, and I'm like, I mean, that's an immediate tell there's a spy. Yeah, absolutely. If you're a spy and you really hate pyros, yeah, you have the bicycle, but also you're leaving behind the statues, right? So I feel like there's definitely a risk-reward cost-benefit analysis that gets made there when trying to use this bicycle.
don't always directly lead to the spy being caught and killed, it does prepare players for an imminent spy attack.
Yeah.
It's often best to assume players will notice these tells every time, even if they often don't.
Right.
Though when players do suspect a nearby spy, they'll often use the spy voice command.
Spy!
Using the voice command is a quick and effective way to instantly raise the awareness of nearby teammates, but as the spy in question, you should also be listening out for this. Many players will instinctively call out spy when they suspect one is nearby, and this can be a surprisingly good way to tell if other players are aware of you or not. This may be obvious, but it's good to remember that your best targets are those that are distracted, as there are many actions that can put players into a distracted state.
Fighting other players, tunnel vision on a weak player, getting a health pack, repairing buildings, healing players taking lots of damage, dealing with an overhealed heavy, or running away from an Ubered player.
Of course, these actions aren't guaranteed to put players in a distracted state, as they can bait out a spy attack or use methods to partially mitigate it.
Right.
If you catch players out multiple times while they're distracted, you should expect them to either begin using these tactics or switch class entirely.
And I think that's the big one as well. Like, so I come from a mindset of I actually really like class swapping, and it comes to the point where I have to actually force myself to stay on a class to actually learn the class, because it's very easy for me to say play pyro, but suddenly pyro on 2-4 isn't doing anything, or maybe there's a sentry nest down in the sewers, and be able to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna just go beggar's bazooka this, or even sniper this and try to snap at the engineer or the sniper, kind of pigeon down in the bait, like they're making the nest in the sewer, right? They're pigeonholed in the sewer. Like, I think at a certain point, and I think it comes down to knowing when is appropriate and when isn't appropriate, because you could use it as an excuse to be like, well, I haven't played soldier today, might as well remember how to play soldier, or, well, I've been meaning to try to train my headshots on sniper, right? But at the same time, are you shooting yourself in the foot proverbially, where you're trying to play pyro? It's testing yourself. Can you break this nest with pyro? If not, is there a way which pyro would be useful there, or is it better to just swap to literally anything else? And that's the one that I'm kind of toying with right now. When is it best to swap, and when is it not best to swap, right? I'm also very team-centric. What does the team need? That kind of thing. So I think it's this poses interesting questions. And like, he's absolutely correct, right? It's that there are minor distractions. You are playing a game. You are engaging with the game, right? Facing down a heavy, running from an uber heavy, dealing with XYZ ABC, and you're, as a spy, trying to capitalize on the in between of the tempos.
In fact, it's not uncommon for you to backstab a sniper, only for him to come out of spawn with the Razorback.
Yeah.
But in this case, Spy has that decloak that makes noise, and I decloaked behind him earlier, so I knew he most likely had no sound, so I just destroyed his Razorback and stabbed him anyway.
Classic. Oh my
yeah,
god.
and also a gun. It's also good to note that a player
I don't believe you. We keep saying Spy has a gun. I don't see it. I don't. It doesn't make sense to
in
me.
a distracted state will usually immediately snap out of it if they see or hear the before-mentioned Spy tells. But how can we use Paranoia to our advantage? Well, for one, players that become too focused on not dying to you often start dying to everything else.
Yeah.
When players end up this paranoid, it may be a good idea to avoid them entirely. Chances are, you'll get caught by them anyway.
Right.
So, just let them get so paranoid that they'll go on YouTube and look up spy tutorials just to try and counter spy.
Like what he says makes sense though, because you're engaging in that psychological warfare. They are so zeroed in on getting got by the spy, right? The third Inno spy we keep talking about, right? They're so zeroed in on it that suddenly they're going to start making mistakes. The demo man's able to hit their pipes a lot better. You're going to have the sniper who's just going to absolutely go ham on them, right? The sniper, your sniper's just going to, headshot after headshot after headshot, right? You're going to have they're so focused. The engineer's so focused on their nest getting sapped, right? Maybe they're playing a way more defensively than they should. They're not pushing with their team, right? They're trying to play defensive to keep their scrap investment alive and well, right? Like it's you playing with the expectations in the games, and then there's nothing stopping you from terrorizing the enemy team as a spy, and then swapping off of the spy, right? Because they're still primed for it, and then maybe give it a few minutes, and then go back to spy. Get a couple good things, rile them up again, right? You're keeping them off balance. You're keeping them off keter.
Speaking of
Flawless.
getting to people's heads, paranoid players will often be more likely to hunt you down.
Yeah.
Using cloak illusions, you can often fake where you've gone, and the aforementioned players will continue searching for you, not realizing that you've already got away. Illusions can be very good for distracting players, and messing with their perception of where you really are. In this clip, I'm disguised as Demo, but this medic here that I've already stabbed multiple times doesn't buy it. I fake going through this path, and the medic, thinking he knows where I've gone, turns around.
I really feel like, oh man, I'm gonna definitely be using these on stream now. The cloak illusions. I need to get good at these. Like, this is such a cool tech.
This false sense of security, plus the noise pollution, allows me to decloak behind him and get a stab.
Poor medic.
The other noteworthy thing about Paranoia is how people may begin to catch on to your habits and strategies.
Right.
You appear in the same spot every time, people will get used to it. You should either be mixing up your habits constantly to stay ahead of other players, or condition players into one habit, then switching to another. Because making people paranoid can make them harder to kill, there are methods that can be used to reduce or negate paranoia. As mentioned before, one of the strategies for doing this is to simply leave the player in question alone for a while. Let them play the game for a bit, and then strike when they calm down. A good hiding spot, or the cloak and dagger, can be really effective for this, as you can just sit somewhere and chill.
Why do I feel like a lot of good spies just have a cloak and dagger hot swap? Like, they have like an actual like cloak and dagger alternative loadout that they'll just swap to sometimes to kind of like let the enemy team simmer down. Like, they'll go for a stab if they have it, right? Like, if they see a juicy enough target, like, they'll go for it, right? But they'll play like hard aggro and they'll use cloak illusions, but then they'll like hard swap to cloak and dagger, and then they'll just sit there for a bit, like letting the team kind of simmer down a little bit.
You can continue to keep an eye on the fight while staying there, and the enemy team never has to know. You can also be more selective with when you appear and who you kill. Warning, I would highly recommend using the stock watch if you're new to spy, as the other watches teach new spies bad habits.
Yeah.
Speaking of being selective, Your Eternal Reward is the best weapon for being a silent assassin. Most players rely on hearing a backstab to become aware of a spy. However, Your Eternal Reward with the silent backstabs and instant disguise takes that away.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it takes away the sound of the backstab, like that is kind of spicy.
The result is that it more often causes only the players you kill to become paranoid of you, since almost everyone else doesn't realize you're there. This combined with the control over your timing the Cloak and Dagger gives you, you can turn into the ultimate Ghost Spy.
Oh no!
Oh no, he's very scared.
While these unlocks are effective in negating paranoia, these aren't the only methods of doing so.
Right.
Doing your best to remain undetected prior to kills can slow down the ramp-up of paranoia. Constantly changing up your playstyle based on the situation can also be of great benefit.
What is that? Genuine Quackenbert. Is that... That's got to be a custom name, right? Like, so genuine, I guess, is like the prefix, like strange, Australian, killstreak, festive, etc. Like it's that, right? Yeah, because the Macroweb Revolver, I'm sure, is a Halloween drop item. Killstreak Big Earner is a Big Earner with the killstreak attached to it. Server Clearing Dead Ringer. It's a stock reskin. I'm still learning a lot of the prefixes, so I really appreciate a lot of people clarifying stuff. It's a promo item, gotcha.
As it can throw the enemy off. Players getting used to your Dead Ringer? Switch to stock invids.
Yeah.
People are hearing your backstabs? Use Your Eternal Reward. People chasing you down after a backstab? Use the Big Earner. Adapt the loadout to the situation and keep your enemy guessing. You can also bind keys to quick switch between loadouts. Personally,
I didn't even know you could do this.
I use the arrow keys for this.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense, though.
But one of the best ways of reducing paranoia is switch off Spy. What? I'm being serious. Just play a different class.
Yeah.
Because you know how to play other classes and not just Spy, right? Right?
Kip just makes pyro noises.
But being able to off-class can render people's efforts to spy check for you completely useless. And as mentioned before, players that spy check too much can be much more vulnerable in other aspects.
Right.
Plus, being able to play other classes gives you a good idea of how they work.
So let's put it this way, though, right? So if the sniper, right, putting on the funny anti-backstab shield, right? Doesn't that take away one of their slots? I don't remember if it's their secondary or their melee, right? But doesn't it actually take a slot for them to do? So you know inherently that if the enemy team sniper is actively swapping to that to try to counter the spy, they are going. Yeah, it takes place in the secondary, so they're not going to have the SMG, especially if they're using the Luxman, right? Therefore, you can like understand how they're going to approach certain encounters, right? No, I'm loving this. Yeah, no piss jar either. Yeah, like. This is when they start equipping the Razorback. Just swap off and capitalize on the Huntsman until he decides he has to, act like play the game again, in certain ways, and then you can go back to Spy. I feel like Spy is definitely one of those. I feel I'm gonna pet project. It's gonna be one of those that I'm gonna have to be playing through the next several hundred hours on and off.
They think and how to fight them. And once the enemy team calms down a bit, you may just be able to switch back and cause more problems.
I feel from an uneducated new player experience, I feel that the Razorback is just a crutch. I feel that it actively will make you worse at the game because your answer to Spy will just default to Razorback, and it also means that you're not swiveling, you're not making sure to check your surroundings, right? I feel like that it can lead to complacency, but I mean, I would definitely, defer to people who have hundreds and thousands of hours more than I do at this point, right? Oh no. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, Spy seems like it's a very versatile class. It seems like you would be using every part of its kit, honestly, which is honestly kind of wild to me. Being able to swap between loadouts and stuff. I'll have to go set up some loadout keys because honestly, that seems like that's pretty tech. And I'm definitely going to have fun with him over the next few hundred hours, if not 1,000. But thank you for watching. I really do appreciate this. I thought this was really good. I thought that this was really jam-packed with information, and I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to try some of this out on some of our community streams, which we do have over on the Purple app. Try to have at least one every week at this point, just because it's pretty fun to get together and play. Trying to get an additional Man versus Machine one done, because I already did my first tour, and that was pretty fun. But thank you for watching. See you in the next one.